Hello and welcome to my channel, Talisman Tarot. In this reading I want to ask the cards and Spirit directly through channeling about your life purpose, what's your mission here on Earth. And I have 4 groups that you can choose from. This will be group number 1, this will be group number 2, this will be group number 3, and this will be group number 4. And so I will ask you to use your intuition and choose the group that speaks to you the most, the group that catches your eye, and that group will be your group. And if you need any more time to choose, you can always just pause the video. But if you don't need any more time, then I'll just move on to the reading. Hello, group number 1. You chose the Alcohol Tarot deck, and I will start with some channeling and then I will shuffle the cards for you. So, okay, group number 1, the people who will choose group number 1. Group number 1. I am sensing something about helping people become the best version of themselves. So, I think you have a purpose that is about helping people become better, helping people see what's inside them, like what they can accomplish. You have a gift of seeing people, like you can see people's potential, you can see what they can become. You can, you have a good eye for seeing people's talents. Like you could be a good headhunter. Like you're good at, or not headhunter, but like you can. You could be good at casting people for different roles and figuring out like who is best for the job and stuff like that. But it's also just, it's more than that. It's about developing character, helping people develop what they already have, so like your life purpose is not for you to become like extremely like you can become successful and stuff like that, but I'm just sensing that your life purpose is not to become famous for something. You're supposed to make other people famous, and that's also like that's also very important. And like behind every famous person there was someone who believed in them and believed that they could accomplish great things. And so yeah, I think you're supposed to hype people up, you're supposed to help people, you're supposed to also help people who might have gotten a bit lost in their own life purpose, like their own sense of purpose, figuring out other people's sense of other people's purpose in life, like figuring out what other people are good at and then embracing that and developing it, and like you could work as a life coach, a consultant, a therapist, because you can see what's inside people, you can see how you can help people become the best version of themselves. You can read people very easily. You could be a very good reader, like a good mind reader, or a tarot reader. You could be good at doing what I'm doing. Or like you could be a good counselor, life coach. I think you could do very much good in that sort of field. It is your life purpose, so of course you would, but I think your life purpose is just to notice what's special about people. So yeah, I'm gonna shuffle the cards and see if there's something more. Like, what's your life purpose? Is there something I've missed maybe in my channeling? What's group number one's life purpose? What's their mission here on Earth? Your mission is a bit different. I'm sensing it's like your life purpose is one thing, your soul mission is a different thing. So I probably should have made two separate videos, one about life purpose, another one about soul mission, because I think your soul mission is more private. It's more what you're like. Your life purpose is what is kind of your career path, what you're supposed to bring into the world to other people, how you're gonna change other people's lives, and you are going to have an impact. And especially if you go into the field of consulting or counseling or therapy, like, you will really help people develop their gifts and talents, and also help people get through some of the obstacles that they have in life that are bringing them down, that are not giving them a sense of purpose, and that are not serving them and making them feel bad about themselves. And maybe also figuring out things about people, like through therapy, healing some inner child things, like helping people with their inner child, helping people through some childhood trauma, which are keeping them from actually living their true self and becoming their potential, like enhancing people to the point where they can be their full potential or live their full potential. But your soul mission, it's a bit more personal. It's more what your I think it seems as if it's more some karma you have that you need to some past life karma. You have probably a lot of retrograde in your natal chart, a lot of planet placements in retrograde. So it seems as if like you've probably had a difficult past life, a lot of healing. Like I think your soul needs a lot of healing from past lives, and I think one of the ways that you can heal that is by healing other people. Like, of course, don't forget about yourself in all of this. It's not like, of course, if you go into the field of helping people through counseling, or of course that could make you lose a bit of, like, or maybe it will make you feel a bit like you're healing everyone else, but you're not healing yourself. But I'm actually sensing that that's not the case. It's not going to be the case for you. I think you will actually heal yourself through healing others, because while you're healing others, you will start healing yourself. You will realize certain things about yourself that needs healing too, and maybe by giving people advice all the time, maybe at some point you will start taking your own advice and actually living by some of your own advice. And but yeah, I'm definitely sensing some something I think you have some anxiety. And the anxiety that you have, it might seem very. It might seem like an enigma to you. Like you don't really understand how it came to be. Like why you are so anxious, or why you have the anxiety that you have. Maybe you have some phobias too that don't really make sense to you, because like maybe you are very afraid of small spaces, like maybe you have the claustrophobia, or maybe you have a phobia against, or maybe you're afraid of spiders, or afraid of heights, or afraid of something that you can't really place. Like you don't really know when it began. You don't really know what caused it, what triggered that anxiety. But I think you might think that it's some kind of repressed memory from the past that you just don't remember, but I don't actually think that's the case. I think it might be something from your past life. So you're like, maybe it was even the way you died in your past life. Like sometimes the way we die in our past life can actually affect us and make us really afraid of it in this life, and that's very natural, I guess. Like if you died from falling in your past life, of course you would be afraid of heights because you don't want to make the same mistake over and over again. So it kind of is the soul's way of protecting itself from doing past mistakes. Or maybe you trusted someone in the past, in your past life, that you shouldn't have trusted, and so now you have trust issues because of that. Like maybe you have trust issues and you think that it might have been because of your parents, but you can't really figure it out, because your parents didn't really, like, maybe you had a bad childhood, but it might not have been so bad that it caused you to have trust issues, and so it might be, so it might have been hard for you to understand why you have trust issues, but it could have been because of your past life. You're living out like your soul remembers that it shouldn't trust someone because it trusted someone in the past and in your past life, and you get it. But yeah, I think you have had some anxiety throughout your life, and I think you can heal it. You can get rid of it, even though it's very, very deep inside your soul. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not necessarily something you need to get rid of, because sometimes it's just good enough to know why it's there. Like if you know that you're afraid of heights because your soul is trying to protect you from the death that have already occurred to your soul once, and so it doesn't want to make the same mistake. And so it's really not an anxiety that's unexplained. Like there is an explanation for it, and of course heights can also be very, like, you should be afraid of heights. Why would that be a bad thing? Sometimes it's all about embracing our anxiety, realizing that our body is just trying to protect us, and it's not necessarily bad. So yeah, I think, but I think you are also supposed to help others who have anxiety, who have certain mental disorders, because you understand them, you empathize with them on a different level, and I think you're also you're supposed to help people embrace it, I guess. Not necessarily make them more anxious or let them become just. You shouldn't let people just stay in their anxiety. I don't know, but I think creating acceptance. There could also be certain things about anxiety disorders that might be a bit faulty. We might have a faulty view on anxiety as a whole. Like maybe you're supposed to do certain research about anxiety that will change the way we look at anxiety. So maybe if you went into the field of psychology or something like that, you could actually make an impact on the field and actually cause us to look at the psyche in a different way and make people understand that there's actually nothing wrong with them. It's not. Yeah. So I'm definitely thinking. I'm definitely getting the sense here that you're supposed to do something that has to do with the psyche, developing the psyche, developing an understanding and a sense of understanding, making people understand why they do what they do, why they react like they do, and you could be very good at analyzing people. Psychoanalyzing people, realizing where their triggers come from, and even if there are, of course, yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna shuffle the cards, see what your life purpose is. Group number 1, what's your life purpose? The Hermit. So you're supposed to look. You're supposed to look underneath the surface. You're supposed to figure out something new and exciting. You're supposed to look at the world in a different way than people are used to. You're supposed to figure something out that has not been figured out before. Like you're not supposed to invent some great invention necessarily, but you're supposed to figure something out or change our view on something, make it. You're supposed to shine light on something that hasn't been that people haven't seen before. It's kind of putting off the blindfold so that people can see something, even though it has already been there for an eternity, but it's not necessarily an eternity, but it's always been there. So it's about figuring out, like, not figuring out something because it's something that's already like it's already there. So it's not an invention, it's already there. It seems as if you are supposed to shed light on something that's already there. But people just haven't been noticing it. Or people have had a misconception of it through generations. And so it's it could very well be about the psyche, like something about how we perceive anxiety, or how we perceive memory, or how we memorize, why we memorize certain things, why certain memories are repressed, why we see certain things when sometimes we see, like why two people can look at one picture and see different things, why we remember, how we remember, are the memory inside us, or is it outside of us? Is it in the environment? Are we being, do we remember because we are being, because we are being triggered by the memory? Is the memory not inside us? Can we not actually naturally bring up a memory without an outer source or outer reaction from, or something that activates it? Is the memory actually passive? Can we not activate it ourselves? Are we supposed to be? Is the memory supposed to be passive, or I don't know. But I'm sensing you're supposed to figure something out about how we look at certain aspects of our psyche, either the memory or our reactions to things, why we get anxiety. I don't know. So yeah, I think you're supposed to also shed light on, like, in a more, like, if you're not supposed to figure something big out, like if you're not supposed to solve some mystery that has been around the world for centuries, you're probably supposed to just figure out small mysteries, and those are also very important, like small mysteries in people, like through therapy, through counseling, you can figure out certain mysteries that are mysteries to people, solve mysteries within people, why people figuring out why people react in the way that they react, and then when you figure that out, you can help them heal it, or change it, or change it into a positive thing. Sometimes we can change the negative into the positive, have a positive perception of something that is normally seen as negative, and see how it's actually benefiting us, and actually not necessarily a bad thing, but a good thing, and something we should embrace instead of making it a taboo. And so, yeah, shedding light on things, also shadow healing, healing people's shadow, making people realize their shadow self, and then heal the shadow, or make the person embrace it in a way that's healthy. Instead of making it into a bad thing, you can make it into a good thing. The shadow is a good thing when it's used properly, when it's or when it's embraced in the same way as the light side of us. It's all about making us embrace our whole being, like because our shadow is only powerful when it's a taboo, when it's neglected, when it's hidden and made secret. When it's being suppressed by us, then it becomes toxic. But if we actually realize it, can see how it's affecting us, affecting our thinking, we can actually turn it into even a tool for certain things. I don't know. But with the Tower reversed, I think you're supposed to help people who are in help people who are who are going down a bad path. You could do a lot of helping work if you went into the field of addiction, helping people with addiction, helping people out of addiction, helping people who are going into a disaster, who are facing a disaster, helping them before the disaster happens, so that they can prevent so that you can prevent the disaster from happening. And that's something like addiction, taking it, helping people before they actually, maybe helping people even before they develop an addiction, through counseling, through healing the problem before it actually turns into a problem, helping children, helping teenagers, teaching teenagers good tools that can be used instead of using drugs or whatever. I don't know if that would actually work. I think many people have tried that. Of course, I think most of us have had people alcohol drug counselors come up to our school and have some kind of lecture about how you shouldn't do drugs because it fucks up your life and all of that. Of course, that doesn't really work, because people still do drugs and still drink alcohol, even though they've had someone tell them that they shouldn't, and but maybe you can change. Maybe you can do it better. Maybe you have the key to actually doing this successfully and actually getting through to children and teenagers and actually talking to them on a different level. Maybe being able, maybe you will, if you did lectures, you might be able to actually get through to children or teenagers, because you can maybe relate to them better, talk to them on their level, be more. Maybe you're just more relatable and likable than those others who failed. But I'm also sensing maybe the key is not to actually stop people from doing drugs or drinking alcohol, but actually figuring out an alternative that's better. And I don't know what alternative that could be, and I don't think anyone knows what alternative that could be, because if there was an alternative that was even better but didn't harm people in the same way, we would have already tried to turn people to that instead. But maybe along the way, maybe in the future, maybe you will figure something out, like an alternative that's more attractive than, or maybe just giving people some tools to actually fill that hole inside them that they are filling up with alcohol or drugs, and try to fill it up with purpose, and try to make people more make people turn to spirituality instead, filling that hole with solving mysteries about the world and I don't know, like being awake or whatever. I don't awakening like I don't. I don't know. But I think you will get through to a lot of people in the future. I don't know what exactly you're going to, what field you're going to go into in the future. But I think whatever you choose, I think you will get through to a lot of people. You will get your message across, because I think you have a certain you have a likability. Like, you're not supposed to be famous, even though I said that in the beginning, and I kind of stick to that. It's not necessary. It's not because you wouldn't be able to become famous. You would. You have a character that's very, like, you have that X factor thing. Like, you have a character that's very like you're a very likable person. But I don't think fame is really. It doesn't seem as if it's your path. You're supposed to lift other people up. You're not necessarily supposed to be the one in the limelight, because in order to become that person, that famous person, you have to step on a few toes to get there, and I don't think that's your. It's not your jam. I don't think you would be I don't think you would be comfortable being famous or being like well known for something. I think but I think you're like, if you go if you go out and do some lectures and do some, like, of course you will be well known in a way, but I think it's just, you're supposed to just help others and help others realize certain things about themselves without actually becoming like like a famous person, but just becoming a role model for the community, for the local community, helping the people in your local community, being of service to them and helping them become better, and that's a very important job. It's if you became famous, you wouldn't necessarily have the time to actually help your local community, because it would be on such a grander scale that you would forget the people who are near to you, who you can actually help on a different level. You think about it, like, as even if you went and became a priest, like, that would be a wonderful way for you to actually get through to the people in your community, talking to them, helping them through counseling, and also, like, the priest, it's not necessarily how the priest, like, the title of the priest is a bit different now than it used to be. It used to be the person who people could go to for, like, this person that was always available to the people in the community, so that people could always reach out to that person, and also the priest had the ability or not the ability, but the right to go out and seek people out that they believed were needed, that they believed needed their help, I guess. But I think, like, now it's more like just this person that like, it's a bit different now, but it doesn't have to be. Like, you could take on that role and become that, like, but again, like if you became like a priest or something like that, you could reach out to people who are in trouble before they start. Like you would be able to notice if there are people in your community who are going down a bad path, or like you, and then you would be able to reach out to them, and you would be able to have a different impact on your local community. As you would if you became famous, you wouldn't be able to have the time for your local community. So, but you would have such a great impact on your local community as like if you became a priest, or even if you became a therapist, or not necessarily that, because like a therapist is also like it's not natural for a therapist to go out and reach out to people who like you can't just go up to, like as a therapist you can't just go up to a person and say you need therapy, and so like because it's not free, and so it's not this you can't really do that in the same way as the priest can. The priest can offer their help in another way. But I'm also like you could do this as a politician as well. Like a politician can go out and reach out to people. Of course, people wouldn't really trust that person. Like if you're a politician, people don't really trust politicians. They know that you're just reaching out to them because it's benefiting your campaign or whatever, so it's not really the same thing. But you could also just work as like someone in a school that you know, the guidance counselor in a school who has who's on the lookout for like people for the children who are not doing well, or who aren't participating in things, or aren't really like you, because that was also like what I was seeing like in the beginning, is that like you have an eye for catching people before they catching people before they fall. Like you notice people, you notice small changes in people's behavior, in people's character, in people's like you notice things even if you're not even talking to them. Like if you were a guidance counselor, like you could just look at the children in the school, like while they are out doing like not in a creepy way, like but you know, you could just be on like just have like watch out. You could watch out for them and see how people, like how certain children are starting to behave differently, or starting to have different friends that may not be good for them, or I don't know. But I'm just like, you notice people, you see the small changes in people. You see the red flags, certain things that you know will not end well, and so you can reach out to them and and talk to them and counsel them into maybe not going down that path, or yeah. With the glass of wine reversed, it's Ace of Cups, so I think you're supposed to, maybe not, it seems as if your life purpose doesn't necessarily go hand in hand with a healthy love life. It seems as if you have a grander purpose to help people, be a great impact in people's lives, but maybe it will be so time consuming if you go down this path that maybe you won't have the time for romance. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. I think you will have a love life in the future. I just think maybe you will have have certain troubles in that said love life because you will use a lot of time on your local community. If you go down this path that you're meant to go down, like you're supposed to serve others and you're supposed to help others, and maybe especially children and teenagers, and maybe this also means that maybe you won't have the time for your own children because you will focus on, like, you will use so much time on other children, like helping other children, that maybe your own children will feel a bit neglected by this. But it's so in a way it would be maybe, I don't want to say this, but it would maybe be ideal for you to not have children, because then you would have the opportunity to help children other children who are in need. Like there's also like a message here that maybe you maybe you're supposed to have foster children, like you're supposed to take children in who have had a very difficult childhood and help them and welcome them into your home and become a parent to them who didn't have a parent to begin with. And so maybe these will, like, I've heard of a few foster parents who love their foster children as their own. Like they see them as their own children. They don't just see them as their foster children. They see them as their own. And so this could also be your story, that you're supposed to be a foster parent and help children that way. So, or adoption, like through adoption, adopting a child whose parents didn't want them. With the King of Daggers, which is King of Pentacles, I think, well, you might have like, even though your love life might not, I think you will find a partner who will be your soulmate. Maybe you have already found him. I don't know, but I'm just sensing that there is someone out there for you who will be your perfect counterpart, because this is someone who also has a higher purpose, who also puts a lot of effort into their work, and who also doesn't have that time for romance and stuff like that, who is dedicated to a higher purpose. and it could be an earth sign, it could be a Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. But it doesn't have to be. It could also just be someone who's very determined career-wise, and yeah. If you're a man watching and you're a heterosexual, this could also be you. This could be that you're just supposed to be dedicated to your job. That could be just your life purpose, is to be more dedicated to your job instead of love and romance. You're supposed to put all your love into your work, and so and maybe there won't be a lot of love left for your own love life when you put all your love into your work, your community, helping people. So with a Ace of Wands, which is, yeah, so it's pint of beer in this card deck, but it's Ace of Wands. So I think your life purpose is to create fire in people, passion. You're supposed to bring out passion in people, and that was also what I was talking about in the beginning. Like you're supposed to find out what people's talents are, what people can develop and become really good at, what can people succeed at. You're supposed to cast people into different roles, and like if you took people into guidance counseling, you could figure out like what are they supposed to do with their life, what's their life purpose, what is their passion, how can we make that passion what is the fire inside them, and how can we make that fire useful, how can we burn that fire even bigger and make it, and how can we control it so that it can be used to like create tools, like you know how the fire is used to create tools out of metal, and so it's, but so I think you're supposed to figure out like what's people's passion and what can that passion be used for, and how can people develop it into something greater, and yeah. So that's your life purpose, group number 1. I hope this reading was helpful. And if it was, please subscribe to my channel. And if you want a personal reading from me, you can just follow the information in the description box below. Follow the steps to buying a personal reading from me. And yeah, so yeah, I hope this reading was helpful. And yeah, I hope to see you in my next reading. Bye. Hello, group number 2. You chose this Hermetic Tarot deck, and I will start with some channeling and then I will shuffle the cards for you. So group number 2, the people who will choose group number 2. Group number 2. What's group number 2's life purpose? What's the purpose of their life? Group number 2's purpose. Here on earth, what's their purpose? Group number 2's purpose. There's something here about magic. I don't know if you're supposed to create magic or do magic, but maybe some of you are already doing magic and sharing magic with people, or being a witch or being a magician. But but I don't necessarily take it so literally. I think magic is also about creating wonder, creating something that creates wonder in people, makes them believe in something higher than what they can believe in, more than they can see. It's about creating belief, and spirituality, and sharing spirituality, but also creating childish wonder, like you can do with writing books. Like you can, if you write a good children's book, you can create wonder that way. Like also like Harry Potter, like that book series is like it created wonder in children and teenagers, and made them excited about a different world, a world that's different from ours, and made them like it's also about creating escapism, creating something that people can go to escape this world, and to find some comfort in a different world, in a world that's magical and completely different than what we're used to, and also creating this. Like I think you're some of you, if not most of you, you're supposed to create. You're creators. Like you're supposed to write, or paint, or in some other way create something that makes people, that affects people in a different way, that especially through writing, I think, like creating a world through writing, especially writing fantasy, like writing fantasy novels, children's books, sci-fi, something like that. You could also write about spirituality, write about magic, write about something like non-fiction as well, but I'm just more sensing fiction, that you're supposed to do fiction, write fiction, fiction novels, or poems or short stories, or fairy tales, small fairy tales, fables. But they all have to create, like you're supposed to create wonder with this, like you're supposed to create magic and wonder and make people excited about something completely, like make people excited about make-believe, about and also inspire people to use their imagination. That the imagination is such a wonderful thing that we have, that can create such wonderful things, and it's unlimited, and it's so yeah, I think you're supposed to use your imagination. That seems to be your life purpose, is to use your imagination, create something new and exciting, create a world I'm also sensing something about, well, you could also be create content on YouTube. Like, it doesn't have to be writing, even though I'm definitely getting the feeling that it's writing mostly. But you could also do content, create content on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, or like do sketches or do comics on Instagram, or share comics on Instagram. Maybe even with magic as a topic, in a way, like using creating small comics about magic or about spirituality or about witchcraft, or maybe even funny things about, like, maybe you're supposed to do something humorous as well, like make people smile with something satirical, like making fun of certain aspects of witchcraft or spirituality, and make light of it. Sometimes that's like also the reason why many people don't go into witchcraft or magic or spirituality, is because they are afraid of it. In a way, it frightens them. It makes it. And if you were able to educate people about magic and witchcraft in a funny way, and funny light way, like making light of it, making jokes about it, then maybe it would be easily consumed by regular people, and make them feel like, okay, yeah, this is not so scary at all. Like, it's not as scary as I thought it was. Like, making people more possibly educating people in a funny way. But you could also create wonder in children about magic and spirituality, like J.K. Rowling did with Harry Potter. She wrote it as fiction, but it's pretty much like many of the aspects of Harry Potter are based on non-fiction, like things that like witchcraft and magic that were used and have been used for decades. And so it's taking something non-fiction and putting it into fiction to make it more consumable to children, and make it lighter, and make it less scary in a way. Like, I always thought it's wonderful. Like in Harry Potter, there's I don't really remember this, but like there. I figured this, like I saw Harry Potter a few months ago. Again, like I used to see it as a child, but I haven't seen it for like after I became a teenager or adult. Like, so I saw it again, and like I saw them as a teenager too. Like, I'm not that old, but like. There was this one scene where Harry Potter wrote something on a paper and then got a message, and like it occurred to me like afterwards, like when I saw it like a few months ago, that is what I use a lot, like in my own practice of spirituality. I write down questions, and then I get the answer to it. Not that it just occurs like out of magic, like I have to write them down too, but it's automatic writing, and it's kind of this thing where it just where you realize that what you saw as make-believe as a child is actually something you're practicing in your everyday life as an adult, and sometimes it's just funny, I don't know. but yeah, so the Empress here, you're definitely, like, the Empress is the feminine energy, it's the creative energy, it's imagination, it's spirituality, it's like you are definitely supposed to do something creative and spiritual and magical. You could have psychic abilities too, but I'm getting this energy that you're more supposed to be a teacher than actually a practitioner. Even though I think you could be a very good practitioner, and you probably already are. Some of you might already be practicing your psychic abilities, but I'm just getting this feeling that you're supposed to be the teacher, like you're supposed to educate people about, like if you had a YouTube channel like I do, like you're not necessarily, like maybe some of you already do pick-a-card readings, I don't know, but I'm just more sensing that your purpose is to do educational content instead, like teaching people how to use their gifts, how to use their psychic abilities, how to differentiate between clairvoyance and clairaudience, claircognizance and clairsentience, what the difference between those four are, and how to develop each of those gifts, and also maybe making it light and funny as well, and humorous, and also maybe something about how to read tarot, if you do read tarot, but not necessarily, but also just divination art, like how to use divination, what tools there are. Like there are plenty of divination tools, like there are cartomancy like this, and the divination with cards, and then there's bibliomancy, which is divination with books, and there are necromancy, also there are, of course that's a bit dark, but there are, not if you make it light, like you can make necromancy light, like you can talk about it in a way where it loses its darkness. And necromancy does not have to be dark. Like, of course, necromancy is about about speaking with the dead, and and it's in the past people used bones as the divination tool, like reading bones, and of course that's a bit dark. Like you're not. And it's very hard, a hard tool of divination in a way, because you're not going to dig up a grave and get the bones that way and then read about, like. But there are other ways to do necromancy. Like, yeah. So like you can touch old objects that belong to the dead and stuff like that. It doesn't have to be the bones. You don't have to dig up any graves. So there, you can maybe also make, like that could also be one of my misconceptions about necromancy. That is what I think about when I think of necromancy. I think of reading bones. That's the image that I get in my head when I think of it. You might have another conception of it. You have another perception maybe, and maybe my perception is a misconception, and maybe there is a lot more to it that I don't know, and maybe you need to take certain things that have certain misconceptions and educate people and make them, because necromancy is a bit of a taboo, like in the spiritual community. It's kind of or that's how I see it, is that it's one of the less normal divination forms. But maybe doing certain doing educational videos about certain misconceptions about about certain divination tools, or certain parts about spirituality, magic also. Magic and witchcraft. Witchcraft is, of course, like, I don't do witchcraft myself. I do divination. In my opinion, that's like, maybe it's like it's the same thing in a way. Like, we're doing the same thing, but I just call it that because I don't. Maybe because I don't really want to be associated with witches, and so again, that could be my own taboo when it comes to the topic or the subject. Like I see witchcraft as this, like, it's a bit bordering towards to the dark. Well, the dark side in a way. Like, it's more. I don't want to cross that line personally, and again, it could be my own misconception of witchcraft. I don't perceive myself as a witch because of this, because I associate it with something negative. And maybe if you did some videos for people, educating people about witchcraft, maybe you could do it in a light way that would make people like me realize that witchcraft is actually not that dark. It's not a dark thing. It's not this thing that we should have, that we should fear. So yeah. I'm sensing like you have a good way of communicating. You have like some Mercury energy there. Like you get the message across very, very easily. You could have some poetic gift that like you can communicate to people very poetically, or very like. I'm just sensing you have you're good at writing. You're good at communicating a message out to people, and you should just use that. I think, like, use the power of your voice. You might also have a very great voice that really that really like determines, or it draws attention to itself. Like it makes people listen. Like, I think you have the gift of making people listen. You could have a very good throat chakra, maybe also do a bit more exercises with your throat chakra just to make it even more powerful. So, but with the Empress also, like, you are supposed to give birth, and of course in this reading, in this context of life purpose, I tend to want to see that as giving birth to creative ideas. Of course, it could also mean that your purpose in life is to give birth to a human, which is the purpose of most of our lives, and so it doesn't come as like it's not necessarily like shocking that is your life purpose, because so I think your life purpose is also to give birth to a child, raise a child, maybe also raise a child in order to be able to do what you're like. That's also the thing, like the thing we forget along the way, like when in our life, is that like we have all, like when in the beginning of our lives, especially in the beginning of our adulthood, we tend to have all these visions of what we're supposed to do with our life and how we're supposed to make a difference in the world. And along the way, along the way, a lot of other things get in the way. Like we might not fulfill all the visions that we had in the beginning, and certain visions also disappear over time and become less important in the grand scheme of it all. And so, or scheme, I'm not sure if it's scheme or scheme. It's two very different things, but it kind of, both of the terms kind of work in this context. So it's either or, I guess. Take what resonates. But yeah, I think you're supposed to give, like, sorry, my point was that you're supposed, like, you're not supposed to do everything. You get a second chance, and that's the whole purpose of birth, is that you can't accomplish everything on your own, and so you create a mini version of yourself in your womb, and that is that, and then you raise that child into and you're supposed to indoctrinate that child into doing exactly what you weren't able to do. And that is, even though it's negatively perceived, like people don't really like that idea of just making your child do your bidding, but it is a part of you. It is, you created it, and you have, in a way, you create a second chance. And so whatever you're not capable or able to do in your life, in your lifetime, you can actually make your child do it for you in their lifetime and actually succeed at it. So like if you don't become a writer, you can actually you can bring that to life in your child instead, and because it's very likely that if you have the gift of writing, that your child will have it too. And so it's not necessarily like your gift is not going away. Like you can just the seed is in your child, and so you can choose to make it blossom. You can choose to try to, of course, not indoctrinate the child. Don't force the child into doing it, because then the child is going to rebel, and that's like the opposite of what you want. But you can encourage the child to write, and you can educate the child on whatever you know. Like that's also what we're supposed to do as parents, is to bring what we know, our knowledge, to the next generation, and fill the child up with a lot of with all that we know, and then it's the child's. Then the child can do whatever it wants with it. Like it has a mind of its own, but you can push it push it to in the right direction. You can push the child in the right direction. Yeah. So Two of Pentacles. You are. I think your life purpose you could have two life purposes. That's not uncommon. You could have two career paths that you can take that would be just as, like, you have the choice between two things, and whatever you choose is going to, like, the outcome is going to be good either way. Like they are both your life purposes. So either or, like it's not like you can't choose the wrong path, because it seems as if you have two paths that are equally good. So if you are right now, like, if you feel like you're kind of heading in two different directions, you don't really know what to choose, then don't be too just make a choice. Life is also just about making choices. Like, make a choice. You can't escape the choice anyways. You will always have to make that choice. You can postpone it as much as you want. You can, but it is inevitable that you're going to have to choose. And either way, like, it's gonna be fine. So choose what you want right now. What is your deepest desire right now, and do that. So, like, if you picture yourself in the future, what are you doing? Like, what is in, like, also because, like, I think you have the gift of seeing the future to some extent. You could be claircognizant. So I think you do have certain maybe you do have certain visions, or maybe you have had visions in the past, or maybe you dream about the future. But in those visions, what were you doing? Like, and also just picture your future. Like, picture what it will be like to wake up 10 years from now. Like, take it. This is also like a good exercise, really. Like, just imagine yourself waking up, doing everything that you're like, waking up. And it's just like, try to get as many details as, like, try to picture, like, the bedroom that you're in, like, when you wake up 10 years from now. Try to imagine the phone that you have, that the alarm is on. Like, try to imagine how it looks 10 years from now, and while you're pressing the snooze button, like, how does the phone look? Everything from going up, and imagine the house that you're, and then imagine going to work. What is that work? Like, where are you going? What is that work, that place? Is it a place, or is it in your home? Like, what? And just try to take a whole day off, and just do this exercise for the whole day. Try to imagine, while you're lying with your eyes closed, imagine what 10 years from now will look like. So yeah, with the sun here reversed, I think you are you're not supposed to you're not necessarily supposed to shine brightly. Like I think you have a light, a very beautiful light inside of you, but and I think you will share that light with a lot of people in your life, like your near people, the people who, but of course, you could be famous. Like, I'm not saying that you're not going to be famous. I'm just saying that I think you're not supposed to be famous. You're supposed to be, and you are supposed to have a great impact on people. Like, I'm sensing that you could, like, if you write a book, it's gonna be a success. But I'm just sensing that maybe you should write it with a pseudonym, write it under a different name. Keep your identity hidden. Not because it's like, I think it would be fine for you if you used your own name, but I'm just sensing that for your own good, I think it would be best if you kept your identity hidden, because not everyone is supposed to have that life in the limelight, being out there, being a public figure that people notice when they see you in the grocery store. Like that, I think that would be very claustrophobic for you and make you feel very uncomfortable. And so I don't think you're supposed to be a famous person. Like your people are not supposed to know how you look and what your name is. Like you're supposed to keep certain aspects of yourself hidden. Like your name, likeness, because I think that's how you will safely have an impact on the world without losing yourself in the process. And so I think it's very important, if you're thinking about writing a book, keep your identity hidden. Write it anonymously, and yeah. Also, like with the sun, because in Rider-Waite and all other tarot decks, almost like many other tarot decks, the sun has a face. It doesn't have that in this, and maybe that's also a message. But like it's double. It's a double message, I guess. Like it's the same thing, just double effect. But it's usually a face. Like there's a face on the sun, and it's reversed, so the face is hidden. And it's also hidden in the card. So like there is no face on the card. So your face is not supposed to be out there in the open for everyone to see. So yeah. But what else is your is there any more? I don't think there is. I think that's the message for you. I think this. I'll end the reading here. Like this is your life purpose. I'll end it here. Yeah. So I hope this reading was helpful to you. Group number 2, and if you want a personal reading from me, you can check the description box below for more info on how to get a personal reading from me. And yeah, I hope to see you in my next reading. And yeah, bye. Hello, group number 3. You chose this Yolanda tarot deck, and I will start with some channeling and then I will shuffle the cards for you. So group number 3, the people who will choose group number 3. What is group number 3's life purpose? I think you have a few different different life purposes that you can choose from. Like it seems as if it's not one thing set in stone. It's like a lot of different options. But I'm also sensing that that is also your life purpose, is to navigate through a lot of different options, because that's maybe also the assignment, like it's the it's the obstacle course of your life, like what you're supposed to, in a way it's your sole mission to have a lot of options and be able to navigate through those options. You might feel very, very, like I'm sensing that you're very confused with what your life purpose is. And of course you are, because there are millions of options out there. Like it's very hard to navigate through all the options. Like how are you going, like it is almost impossible to choose, for example, to choose an education when there are so many things you can choose from. Like and you probably have a lot of different things that you are interested in. Like you might be interested in everything actually. Like you might want, like you might be able to see yourself in many different roles. Like you can see yourself be a very good nurse. You can see yourself be a very good midwife. You can see yourself become a very good doctor, or a good teacher, or a good you can just see yourself in all the different roles, and so it is very hard. Like when everything seems attractive, when everything is attracting you, how can you choose one thing? But I'm sensing that like, there is a higher purpose in all of this. It's like you're supposed to have difficulties choosing, because maybe this difficulty in choosing is actually your path. And it's weird. I know it's weird. It's confusing. But I'm just sensing that maybe you're actually supposed to help others navigate through all the options. So maybe that's your life purpose, is actually to be a guidance counselor, or someone who counsels people into choosing the right path. So maybe all of this, like if you've done a lot of research on different educations, if you've read about like what, like maybe you've read a lot about being a midwife, what you need in order to become a midwife, like what steps you need to take, what classes you need to take in order to become in order to meet the what's it called? Meet the you know, in order to get like certain schools have certain expectations of their students before they start. Like so a student must have had certain classes beforehand before they can actually get accepted into the school or whatever, right? Yeah. So I think you have done a lot of research about maybe even all of the possible educations that you can take, and so you've done your research about all of them, and so you have a lot of knowledge about it. And maybe that's the knowledge that maybe you have done that because that's your path. Like you've done that research because you're supposed to use that research to educate others. Like you're supposed to help others find their path. And so so that's the whole purpose of why you've been doing this research, is because you're supposed to pass it on to others. So that kind of makes sense. I think your life purpose is to help others figure out what their life path or what their purpose, career path is. Also, like with life path, like that's also the life path number thing, and like there's that stuff with the life path numbers. That could also be like a thing. Like you could also help people figure out who they are through their life path number, or through their astrological. Maybe you're into astrology as well, and so maybe some of you also have. Maybe some of you should be astrologers. I don't know, that it's maybe a large step from the guidance counseling thing, but like I think of course some of you, I think you're just supposed to like help people realize who they are, and so you can do that through a lot of different. Like you can do that in a lot of different ways. Like you can do that by helping them find their career path, through helping them through guidance counseling and showing them all the options that they have, and figuring out what they are good at, and figuring out how to use that in order to become good at their job or whatever. But I'm also just sensing that you're supposed to help people figure out who they are, like as a person, and helping them spiritually figure out certain aspects of themselves, maybe through life path numbers or astrology, by looking through their natal chart and figuring out certain things about them through their natal chart, through looking at their natal chart, and also possibly the personality thing, the personality system thing, is it called Myers-Briggs, or like with the letters, like the 4 letters that like figuring out people's personality by giving them a personality test. Yeah, that's where they will figure out like who they are based on their answer to certain questions. Or the other system, the Enneagram or something, and maybe also some things like numerology, figuring out the numerology of people's names and the vibration of people's names or something. So yeah, I think you are supposed to make people realize certain things about themselves, who they are, and giving them certain tools in order to figure that out. Maybe you're also supposed to create your own system, like your own personality system. Maybe some of you feel like the Myers-Briggs personality test and the Enneagram and all of that it's a bit flawed, that it's not good enough, that there are certain aspects that they don't have included in the test, and so maybe you want to make another test and make a more advanced, detailed test that can determine more accurately people's personalities, and maybe that's your life purpose, is to create this system. Or maybe you're supposed to create some kind of system, like some kind of encyclopedia of something, or some kind of index. Maybe you're supposed to create a website or an index that has a lot of information about certain things. I don't know what things, but like some kind of maybe about spirituality, astrology, or even tarot card descriptions, and but yeah, Ace of Pentacles reversed. So I'm sensing that you're supposed to do something that's maybe not gonna get, it's not gonna give you a lot of, like, it's not gonna earn you a lot of money. So I think, like, your life path is maybe not to become very rich. It's gonna be a humble path, and information is always it's a humble path to choose. To choose anything that has to do with sharing information, sharing knowledge with others, or like educating others, or helping others figure themselves out. Like even if you went into counseling and actually, you would probably get a perfectly fine salary, but I'm just sensing it's not going to be anything that flashy. Like you're not going to get a lot of money out of it. It's going to be a more humble path, but it's. I think you will be happy with it, though. So it's not. Maybe money is not the issue here. Like you're not. Maybe you're not seeking money. Like you're not seeking that treasure on the other end of the rainbow. Like you're more interested in meeting the leprechaun, and like the treasure is kind of this smaller thing. Like it's more. It's not what you're seeking after. You're seeking. Maybe also seeking some answers, like you're more interested in figuring out certain things, solving some mysteries, maybe spiritual mysteries, meaning of life, expanding your understanding of the world and of the universe, and of who we are and why we are here and what's the purpose of it all. And so I think you're more. You have a purpose that's a humble one. It's one where you might not get a lot of recognition for it, but it's you are going to get the answers that you are seeking. I think. Maybe you will figure out when you get the answers or maybe you will get a bit disappointed when you actually figure out some answers to certain questions that you've had all your life, that you will maybe realize that maybe other people aren't that interested in them, and that you've dedicated your whole life to answering one question, and then when you actually figure it out, people don't care. And that is a thing that can happen. Like that is very natural. That sometimes we have an excitement for a certain thing, and sometimes other people don't share that excitement with us. And sometimes we just have to be true to ourselves and realize that even though other people might not be interested. That doesn't matter. All that matters is that you were interested in it and you got the answer that you were looking for. You reached your goal, and so why would it change anything if other people were just as excited about it as you? Like your self-worth is not determined by other people. So I don't know, but I'm just sensing that maybe like you need to be true to your own quest on Earth. Like your quest, like you have a quest, like you have some kind of quest that you have to, like there is something you need to figure out. And yeah, you are not gonna get recognition for it right away. Like people are not gonna get it possibly, and maybe it's one of those cases where you figure something out and then you write it down and maybe you even publish it, but the book will maybe not get a lot of recognition at the time, but then 100 years from now people will look back at it and then like someone will notice it and then it will get the recognition that it deserves. But maybe it won't get recognition in your lifetime, and that is also like, so then we just have to be true to our vision and we shouldn't let other people make us second guess our vision, because maybe we're just ahead of our time, and so we have certain visions that will bring importance in the future, but might not be of importance to people now. But people will find it in the future. It will get recognition in the future. So I'm just sensing you're gonna do something. People are not gonna get it. They don't have to. So yeah, but with a star reversed, you're not supposed to be a star in this lifetime. You're supposed to live a more humble life. You are supposed to be a humble servant to the Spirit in the way where you will follow your inspiration, you will follow your intuition, you will do you will seek the answers to the questions that will be given to you, possibly spiritually or like divinely guided. Like you will get, you will have this quest for something. You will, but it will be a divine quest that no one else will get. But that doesn't make it less important. Yeah. So you will do certain things. People will not, especially probably your family, will probably not understand what you're doing. They probably think it's a bit silly, especially if you're going into the field of astrology or numerology and stuff like that. The people around you will probably judge you and think it's a bit silly, and that you need a real job instead of doing that. And you just have to stop listening to them and remember that this is not their quest, it's your quest. They don't get to have a say in this. They have their own quest that they should be focusing on instead of criticizing your path. So but yeah, with the Ace of Wands reversed, I think you are your life purpose is it's inversion. It's something inverted. It's the inverted light, not darkness. It's not darkness. Like it's. I don't really get it. I'm trying to figure it out, but it's like inversion is. I don't know. You're supposed to invert something. I don't really know what that means. Maybe you don't either, but like it's taking something from the inside and putting it out on the outside, or maybe the opposite, taking the outside, putting it inside. Creating a world inside expanding the universe inside our brain, instead of doing it in the it's expanding the mind, expanding the not necessarily in the way where we expand. Of course, we expand our mind all the time by getting more knowledge about certain things, and we expand our mind, and when we get educated, we expand our mind, of course. But it's more like it's not necessarily just that. Even though I think you probably could make a great impact on the world if you became a teacher and educated people in that way. But it's more like not necessarily expanding the mind with knowledge. It's more expanding the actual mind so that it can contain more knowledge, which I don't think is actually possible, but who knows? Everything is possible. It's like thinking of the mind as this even though the mind is borderless, but sometimes I guess we think of the mind as with borders, because we can't really figure things out unless we think of things having borders, because that, I don't know. But expanding those borders of the mind so that it gets expanded in a way where it can contain more knowledge. It's kind of this thing where, of course, this is your life purpose. Or some of you have this life purpose of figuring out some kind of way to expand the mind, which is not possible in right now, I guess, or maybe I don't know about it, but I haven't heard about anything expanding the actual borders of the mind, because I don't think we have kind of determined those borders, because I think we already believe that it's borderless, and so it would be a very new way of thinking of the mind, I think, but I'm not sure, and I don't know what it's about, because it's not been invented yet. This seems as if it's knowledge that is going to I think one of you might figure this out, and so it's a specific message for one of you. You probably don't know that it's you. How would you know? But it seems as if your mission is to figure this out. It's your quest in life is to figure something out about expanding the mind that I don't know yet, because it's gonna be figured out in the future by you. So it's interesting, it's fascinating, but of course I can't really elaborate on the details because I don't know the details yet. So So yeah, Seven of Swords here. Seven of Swords is about illusions. It's about creating illusions. You could be an illusionist, or you could have, some of you could have have a path that has to do with creating illusions. Or symbolism, or engaging with symbolism, or reading symbolism, reading signs from the universe, interpreting the outside world as if it was a dream, interpreting dreams as well. It could also be about interpreting dreams, expanding your mind within your dreams. So it could also have to do with what's it called, like when the lucid dreaming, where we can live within our dream with our consciousness in some way, where we can be conscious within our dream and change the course of the dream within our dream. I haven't figured that out myself. I don't know how to do that. Some people have figured that out, and that's awesome for them. Maybe you're one of those people who have figured out how to be conscious within your dream, and maybe you can expand on that, like become better, become more skilled at doing that. But you could also educate other people on how to do that if you have figured out the key to doing that. Or if you will figure that out in the future, how to do that, then that is something people will want to know, because people will of course want to be able to do that too. So that is interesting, but I'm also sensing like something about astral projection maybe. Maybe you have figured out how to do that as well, and so maybe you can educate people on doing that too. So also you might also have like these two people here, like they are back to back, and they are kind of like in their own mind, but they are together, but they are in their own mind together, and the black cat underneath is like a symbol of maybe even being inside a dream, or being in a dream, being able to connect with people inside dreams. That's actually also an interesting thing. I don't know if you're able to do that, but also connecting with people spiritually, even though they are not in the same room, like figuring out how to spiritually communicate with each other through maybe also through the what's it called, telekinesis, or not telekinesis, that's not the thing, or is it like psychokinesis, or I don't know. Telekinesis is about or no, I don't remember. I don't. But yeah. But definitely something about communicating on a spiritual level with other people, not necessarily the spirit world, not necessarily ghosts, but actually being able to communicate within our world with each other, with the living, connecting to the living on a spiritual level, being able to communicate with each other on a spiritual level, even though they are not in the same room, but like, yeah. So also being able to visualize certain things, maybe because you have visions, you might be very good at envisioning the future and stuff like that, as I said in the beginning. So, or did I say that to another group? I don't remember. But like being able to visualize the future, maybe. Yeah. I'm also sensing something about helping people through the what's it called, the tantra, helping couples connect on a spiritual level, help them love on a spiritual level, help them reach climax without actually touching each other, but by sending out vibrations, energies, by, I don't know, or by just connecting spiritually. I'm also sensing something about maybe, I don't actually, I'm very anti-drugs, I guess, but I think some of you might have a path where you're supposed to help people through certain through certain hallucinogens, like help people through guided hallucinations that are being drug induced, like created by drugs, like or created by mushrooms or LSD or something like that, where that creates hallucinations, and then guiding people through those hallucinations by being in their presence while they are hallucinating, and helping them through helping them through it, and helping them maybe also afterwards reading the symbolism of the hallucinations, reading this, or psychoanalyzing why the certain things were shown to them, like what was the message of the hallucinations. Yeah. I think like you have an interesting path, like an interesting purpose in life. I think it is supposed to be alternative. It's supposed to be alternative healing or alternative medicine. Something like you're not supposed to go into medicine per se. You're supposed to go into alternative medicine. You're not supposed to go into psychology per se, but you're supposed to go into the field of like the alternative psychology, the pseudoscience in the field of psychology, which is astrology, numerology, personality. Like the Enneagram is also a bit of a pseudoscience in psychology, and all, like you're supposed to do something in the field of pseudoscience, alternative science. Everything is a pseudoscience until it gets proven, and certain things cannot get proven, and so everything, like psychology, is kind of a pseudoscience on its own, and it's not what we know about psychology is not necessarily what we're like. It's not necessarily true. It's because like, yeah. So but you're supposed to help people figure things out about themselves, becoming more self-aware, becoming more awake, becoming more in alignment with their true self, figuring themselves out, figuring out their personality, but also their actions and their reactions, and how those are triggered by certain things in their life or in their childhood, or like, you're just supposed to help people figure things out, and you're supposed to figure something out also about something that has not been figured out before, and that's going to be exciting. But yeah, but yeah, that's all I have for you. Group number 3. I hope this reading was helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel. If you want a personal reading from me, then you can check the description box below for more info on how to get a personal reading. And yeah, I hope to see you in my next reading. So yeah, bye. Hello, group number 4. You chose the Herbal Tarot, or the Herbal Tarot. I will start with some channeling, and then I will shuffle the cards for you. So group number 4, the people who will choose group number 4. Group number 4. What is group number 4's life purpose? A very down to earth kind of energy, and it's not just because it's the Herbal Tarot, it's just I'm just sensing a very down to earth energy from you. You could be an earth sign, but you don't have to be. It's just I'm sensing a very grounded message here also. Like it seems as if your life purpose is very grounded. Like it's not airy, it's not out, it's not all over the place. It's more. It's also it seems as if it's more determined by the physical. Like it's I don't know exactly what that means, but like it's like your I don't know if it's your body, if you're supposed to use your body in some way, or you're supposed to use the physical, like also use things like things in your environment. Like you're supposed to use things as tools. Like you're supposed to create your environment, but you're supposed to use what's already in your environment. Of course, we can't create something without it, but it's more like you're supposed to create actual things. For some of you, I think for some of you the message is that you're supposed to use your hands to create things, but for others of you, maybe you're supposed to use your body as for a purpose. Like maybe you can do something with your body that no one else can, or maybe something that only a very few people can do. So maybe you have some skills, physical skills, like you may be very fast with your hands, maybe very good with your hands, maybe very good at creating things with your hands, as I said before. I've said it a few times now, but like it just seems as if you're supposed to use your body for good, like you're supposed to use it to help people or to create something that will inspire people, like artwork. There's also like a lot of hair in this deck for like so maybe something about hair, like working as a hairdresser, or doing something with something helpful with your hands, makeup artist, like a painter, doing arts and crafts, working as a seamstress, or working as like you could also do performance art, like using your body as art, like dancing, teaching other people how to dance, or using your body as art in a, like you could, like body painting, or interpretive dancing, or but I'm just sensing that your life purpose is in your body, using your body, like you were born with a gift, like you were born with a talent to like a very specific talent, and I think you already know if you have it, like it's something that you can do that maybe other people can't do. You're maybe very good with your fingers, using your fingers at creating small objects, or using your, like you have good fine motor skills. I've used that word in another reading, and I haven't Googled it. I hate Googling the words I'm afraid that I use wrong, because it's kind of I would rather not know if I'm saying the wrong word. It kind of gives me a peace of mind, I guess. But I think you just have fine motorical skill, or fine motor skills in your hands that make you very good at doing things also very fast. Like you could be very good at braiding very fast, and like doing, maybe you're very quick with your hands, like you can do certain tasks with your hands that other people would do much slower. Like you're fast, you're quick, you could, like, if you did anything, like this is like it might seem a bit lame that because but it's actually it's really it makes you good at anything. Like even though I think you have like one purpose in life, like one thing that you're really good at, that you really excel at, because but I'm just also sensing that you're very good at everything. Like everything you touch turn to gold, because like if you went into the business of this is just an example, but if you went to work in what's it called, like not a slaughterhouse, but like that, but the right term for it, like I don't think that's the right term, but like where people slaughter or children. Did I just say children? Okay, that's weird. That's a very weird Freudian slip. Why on earth would you slaughter children? Why would... Okay, like that's weird. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna move past that. I'm just gonna guess that it's a Freudian slip in my head, and that it's just me who's a freak, not necessarily you. I'm gonna pin it on me for saying just a wrong word. It wasn't what I was thinking at the time. I was thinking of just a normal, like, place where people slaughter animals, and of course that's a brutal industry as well. They also slaughter young animals too, so it's not necessarily like far off, because that is a thing, that like slaughtering kid animals, like not that it's what, but of course some of you could be vegan, so maybe that's why, like, maybe you don't like this whole this whole storyline that I'm trying to create, and I get it. I might, but I just thought about that particular example because, like, when you work in like that sort of industrial kind of work, then you have to do certain things very fast. Like when sausages are made, like that's like this thing that you have to do it very quickly, and you have to do it with a lot of precision, but also very quickly and efficiently. And it's actually very hard to do, to create sausages. It's a hard. It's something you need to practice in order to perfect your work. But I'm just sensing, like, if you would get it on your first try, because you have good, like, you're good with your hands, so like you can just watch one person do it, and then you would be able to do it perfectly afterwards. Like you seem to learn very quickly when it has to, when you're learning physical skills, like skills that you have to use your hands for. I think you learn those very quickly, and so that is a very good skill to have. Like, it's very good to just be able to use your hands very efficiently. But I'm also just sensing, like, you probably are very good. Like, if you're a seamstress, or if you want to be, like, you would be very, very fast and quick at sewing, and like, yeah, I'm just sensing like quick hand movements and being able to use your hands very efficiently. And so, like, everything, your life purpose is definitely to use the skills that you were born with, use the advantages that you have been born with, because there's nothing wrong with working at a slaughterhouse, or working as a hairdresser, or working as a seamstress. Like, those are all very, very fine lines of fields of work, and it's an honest living. Like, sometimes it's like, it's also about finding an honest living, something that makes sense, where you can see it right away that you're making a difference. Like, you're doing something that has a purpose, and it's a very clear purpose. You go into work, you change, like, you make a change, and you can see the change right away. Like, when you are a hairdresser, like, someone comes in and you change their hair, or you cut their hair, and then they are happy and go out, and then you know, okay, you changed something now. Like, that is that you made someone happier that day than the day before. Like that the person is happier now and has more self-esteem because of the haircut, and like it's why would that be any less important than any other field of work? Like so I'm just like you have and also like you're better at it, and like that's the thing. Like think about how you're actually making a difference. It's not only that you're making someone happy, like you're also making a difference in the field, since you are actually good with your hands. And many people will be in the same field as you in the future, whatever field you choose. If you choose to be a hairdresser, whatever your seamstress, or whatever you choose to do, like there will be a lot of people in the field with you who are not good with their hands, so you have a clear advantage there, and that is also why your purpose, it's important to stay in that field that you're talented at, because you're making a difference, because you do what the others can't do. And so if you didn't go into the line of hairdressing, for instance, then a lot of people who are not talented with their hands will do it instead. Like they will come in they will take your place, and then a lot of people will be unhappy with their hairdresser and get a lot of bad haircuts. And so sometimes we just have to save people from bad hairdressers by becoming a good one, because people deserve to have a good experience with their hairdresser. And so sometimes it's also just about changing the field for the better, being the one who is actually supposed to be there, and maybe take the place of someone who's supposed to do something completely different. You're supposed to do something with your hands. That's your life purpose, is using your hands for good. You could also have healing hands, like you could be a healer like Jesus with your hands, like you can touch people and then they become better, like, or like not better, but like you can heal them, like make them feel not ill anymore with your hands. That could also be a thing. Healing hands. Justice reversed. So I definitely think maybe healing hands is not the actual term I should use, because it's very physical what you can do. So yeah, you're not. So this card, it kind of just it's communicating to me right now, telling me that I'm on the wrong. I'm going down a wrong tangent. Like it's a wrong one. So not that you don't have healing hands like Jesus, but it's not like you can just, like, you're not one of those who put that. These people don't really exist though, so it's not necessarily like that bad that you're not one of these mystical creatures, but like you're not one of those who. Sorry, I'll put this one down. Who can just put their hand on someone, like not even on them, but like near them, and then like they can heal them with their energy or whatever. Even though like it might be real, those people who can do that, but you can heal people the same way, but you have to actually grab onto them because that's your gift. So you could also be a very good masseuse and very good chiropractor or physical therapist, because you have the gift, like you have the gift of healing people with your hands, but you have to grab onto them. It's not enough to just do some mumbo jumbo woo woo and then they magically become better. Like you have to grab on. You have to be hands down with your hands buried into their skin firmly, and your hands are really good at that. Like your hands are good at grabbing onto things and being really hands-on. Really, you might have very strong hands too. So you're probably really, really good at just like really. Good at also probably you're probably good at sensing with your hands what's wrong, like when you grab onto, like you can feel the knots inside their muscles, people's muscles. Like you can feel them, and you can untangle them inside, like by using your hands. Doing something like working as a masseuse or a physical therapist or chiropractor could also be very, very good paths for you career-wise. Sometimes like justice reversed kind of makes me think of taking like that. So like the phrase in the sky so below, like how it is in the sky should be, we should be on whatever, but creating heaven on earth, not necessarily spiritually, like not doing all this mumbo jumbo that I'm doing, like trying to channel from whatever and being all like living this spiritual life where all I do is try to communicate with the other side, but actually, because that's actually not necessarily the way we're supposed to live. That's not necessarily how we make the greatest impact. Maybe we make the greatest impact by being hands-on, by helping people physically, creating physical things, also creating art in the physical realm, like here, now, creating art pieces that will make people happy when they see them, not creating them and posting them on social media and doing all that, but actually creating decorations, maybe even street decorations, painting on buildings, doing things where we make like, where we make what's it called, like commercial art, not that's not the right word for it, but like art that's in the making our environment prettier, like creating a pretty environment for people. Like it used to be sort of virtue to create art in our environment, and like we've turned so lazy with it with time, like but it's probably because the people who go into the field of carpentry or in the field of furniture, creating furniture. There's a name for it, but like it's not necessarily the people who are supposed to be there who are in it. Like it in that line, because it seems as if everything has started becoming so simplistic, and people don't really care about good craftsmanship anymore. And I don't know if it's because there's no demand for it, or because the people who are doing the craftsmanship is not actually caring as much about what they are creating as they should be, or not as good with their hands. Like people, I don't know if like people used to have such a sense of detail in when they created furniture, especially out of wood. Like they would create all these incarvations. No, is that the word for it? I don't think so. But like carving in the wood and making all these small pictures on the side of every single piece of furniture, where everything was carved like a small story in every furniture, and it's admirable, the eye for detail that people had in the past, and the amount of work that they put into it, and that has gone lost with time, and people are doing just simple things that can be done by industrial machines, and that always ruins everything when things are being created massive production or mass production is it is really what ruins creativity, and like. So like I'm just sensing like you're supposed to do something where like because you're so good with your hands, you should use them, create something beautiful. Don't create heaven on earth with your art. Make it as if it was heaven. Create heaven, heavenly things. Put beauty into the world. Like Leonardo da Vinci would never have like if he had lived today, like no one he wouldn't have made the beautiful creations he did, because now it's not, we don't put as much time and effort and into art as they did back then, and but do that, like make wonderful things, beautiful things, make beautiful details that you have to really get really close in order to see them. Like it's yeah. So with Six of Swords, your life purpose could also have to do with creating something that has to do with ships, maybe, I don't know, but that's of course very specific for one of you, but maybe you're really, maybe you can, like the Vikings used to be very, very good at building ships, and it was an art form, and the people who did that they were very proud of their work. They so and so of course there could be something that has to do with ships, but I'm just sensing that it's very unlikely for most of you, but maybe some of you are like it could also have to do with like the old art form of like putting new life into the old art form of ship making, or educating people about ship craftsmanship, ship. Okay, I don't know, but ship craftsmanship, ship, but also maybe also like because you have those hands that can do tiny things, and so maybe also like the bottle, like the ship inside the bottle, like maybe you could be really good at that, like and that's also like a lost art form that no one does today. And certain things, maybe you're supposed to bring new life into an old art form that has been forgotten, like start doing something that's like something old school like that, creating the ships inside the bottle, but also like creating art on what's it called? Sorry, the art on like, but maybe also creating tin art, like tin soldiers, small tin soldiers, or just creating small things, small items that people used to create in the past, but people don't do that anymore. And yeah, so yeah, King of Swords. So I am also sensing that, like, with the Justice card reversed, I'm sensing that some of you might think you have a life path that's a different one, or maybe you're going down another another career path right now. Maybe you're studying right now, or maybe you are studying law with the Justice card reversed. You could be studying law, but maybe that's not your path. Maybe it's something you feel like you're supposed to do because maybe your parents told you to do that, and I just feel like you need to you need to do what. Of course, if that's what makes you happy, then please do that. Like if law makes you happy, do that. But if you have another passion, a creative passion, don't be afraid of taking a leap of faith and going for it, because I think you would be much happier if you gave it a shot, even if you failed, because then at least in the future you will think back and think like, okay, at least I tried that and it didn't work, but at least I tried. Because if you don't do that, then in the future you will think back and think, oh, maybe my life would have been so much different if I had taken that leap of faith. And that's, at least then you would have closure. Then you would know, okay, you tried, failed, and then, yeah. But not that I think you will fail at all. It's your life purpose. I don't think you are supposed to create something with your hands. And if you have an idea, a creative project, right now, go for it, because it's very likely going to be a success. Because you're very good with your hands, you're very creative. But also, if you want to be a hairdresser, or if you feel like that's your calling in life, to be a seamstress or designer, hairdresser, a makeup artist, or an architect, or something like that, go for it. Even if your parents don't get it, or even if your parents feel like you have to do something else, it's your life. You're the creator of your own life, and if you have a calling, it's very likely that it's like if there's something you can do that you are very good at, that you can do better than anyone else, please do that, because that is what's gonna earn you success. Because don't become a mediocre lawyer when you can be an extraordinary hairdresser. Do what you're good at, what you're skilled at, where your talents lie. Be true to your talents. You have been given certain skills for a reason. Also, with the King of Swords, you are smart. Obviously, you are smart. But sometimes the smart thing is to do something else than doing it. It's always this people who have been born with a good, with a lot of intelligence, or like a high IQ or whatever, believe that they have to do something with it, that it would be a shame if they didn't take an education, if they didn't become an academic, become a professor or something like that, that it would be a shame if they didn't use it. But sometimes the smart thing is actually doing what you can do that other people can't do, like figuring out that one thing that you can do better than anyone else. That is the smart thing. That is how you succeed in life, is to just find that one thing that you can do, no one else can do. And if you went into academia, maybe that wouldn't be the smartest decision. Like if you took a master's degree, or even a PhD in something, then of course, yeah, that would be dope, cool. That would be cool enough that you could do that. But that's just, you wouldn't be doing what you are. You would be smart, and people would have respect for you for accomplishing that, but you wouldn't be necessarily better than all the other PhD students, or you would be very, very smart, obviously, because you are there. It's a great accomplishment, I get it, but it's not what makes you stand out from the crowd. It's not what. So I'm just sensing you have to find that one thing that you can do better than anyone else, and just pin it and make money out of it, because you have it. There is one thing that you can do better than anyone else, and maybe some of you already know that you have that it's a gift you were born with, and so you probably have already realized that you can do this, and so do it. Make a living out of it, because it is very, very likely going to give you a lot of success in the future. So yeah. But I think that's all I have for you. Group number 4, I hope this reading was helpful, and if it was, please subscribe to my channel. If you want a personal reading from me, you can check the description box below for more info on how to get a personal reading. And yeah, I hope to see you in my next reading in the future. And yeah, bye.